Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
I have half the company's banking, social media and personal email account info and passwords. I know who is secretly banging who at the office behind their spouses' backs. I know who is cybering at work and jerking it in the bathroom almost daily. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. Throwaway time. What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out?
Number 1.
Background: I'm a guy in my late 20s who was taken into care aged 7. Everyone around me already knows that I was brought up by foster families because I had a shit early childhood. I deliberately keep it vague and say stuff like I'd rather not go into it so that people will just assume I was abused in some way and they'll stop asking about it. The truth is that for the first 7 years of my life, I was brought up as a girl by my psycho birth mother who really wanted a daughter and didn't let the snag of giving birth to a boy stop her from trying to raise one. She was a pretty successful professional in a legal field, not entirely sure what, and had me via an anonymous sperm donor from a fertility clinic. She found out I was a boy at a late ultrasound and then moved across the country. Gave birth to me at home and continued to move about until I was 5 or so. It was just the two of us all my life. We had contact with other people, of course, but they rarely got very close. I had lots of friends, but was always supervised. I found out way after that my mother's strong puritanical Christianity was a lie she used to explain why she was so strict about me being private and never letting anyone see me get changed or anything. I just accepted all of this as fact, having never been told anything different. I was sent to a religious school for girls and had a really great childhood. I was a bit of a tomboy, and played with Lego and toy animals, rather than dolls and stuff, but that's not unusual and no one ever questioned I was a girl, even me. I knew about men and women, but had never really seen much of naked people. My mother never ever spoke to me about it, but I kinda had the impression that when I grew up and got boobs and stuff, my dick would kinda fall off or something and I would be a woman, and other kids would keep their dicks and they'd be men. I don't know, to be honest, I never really thought about it. Anyway, I carried on with my happy girlhood, and had a bunch of friends and everything was great until I was 7 and a teacher accidentally spilled a cup of hot coffee over me at school. The liquid soaked through my clothes and was scalding me, so the staff immediately stripped me out of my dress and underwear to get the hot coffee away from my skin. And then they found out. The cops were called and I got taken to speak with who I guess would be social services. They asked me a bunch of questions about life at home and stuff. Meanwhile, my mother was taken in for questioning too. She refused to acknowledge me as male and insisted I was her daughter. Because she was, delusional and stuff, I wasn't allowed to go back home but got put with a foster family and went through loads of therapy and stuff. The worst part was that literally overnight, I lost everything. My mother, my home, all my toys, all my clothes. I moved schools, so lost all my friends. They cut all my hair off and told me I wasn't a girl anymore. It was really traumatic. The first foster home wasn't that great. They had 3 boys already, and going from a sheltered religious only child upbringing to a rough and tumble testosterone filled environment was really difficult. They tried to force me to be masculine and I was just too confused about what they wanted. Anything girly was reprimanded and I felt so lost and alone because nothing I did was right. I tried to commit suicide when I was 11 and again at 13 because I didn't feel I fitted in anywhere. After the second attempt, they moved me to a different foster family who were awesome. I consider them to be my parents. They actually stood up for me. The first thing was that they let me grow my hair. From when I got taken into care, they buzzed my hair short, and I hated it. They always had to hold me down and do it forcibly while I was crying and fighting. My new parents flatly refused to do it and said that loads of boys had long hair. They also let me quit karate and football and take up swimming and jazz dance. Since I'd been in care, no one had ever stood up for my right to choose what activities to do, or how to dress before. It was amazing. In the end, I came out of it with a pretty healthy gender identity. I'm a guy, but not the most butch guy ever, but I'm fine with that. I went through school and got my degree and have a pretty good job and an amazing, supportive wife. Everything looks great. But I can never speak about my early childhood, and how I grew up as a little girl. TL, Road. I'm a guy and let people believe I was raised in care because I was abused when in fact I had a great childhood, except that my mother tried to raise me as a girl.
Number 2.
Commenter. I run a cake business. I charge people hundreds for wedding cakes. Every last one is made using Pillsbury cake mix I buy for $1 a box at Walmart. I suck at baking. Every time I've ever tried to make a cake from scratch it sucked. But baking is like my whole deal. My friends all call me the cake girl. It's like my whole life is a lie. People compliment my cakes all the time, telling me how delicious they are, telling me it's so much better than boxed mix cake, telling me they could never bake a cake so delicious. Well, guess what? For $1, they too can make a cake just as delicious. Just add oil, eggs and water. In my defense, I love cake decorating. I make all of the frostings and fondant from scratch. I just hate baking effing cakes. I base my prices mostly on the decoration of the cakes and not on the cake itself, if that makes sense. Still, no one knows about this except my husband. Even my best friends think I effing slave over the oven mixing and baking these damn cakes. I have been doing this for years. If anyone knew, my business and reputation would be in the toilet for sure. Skeptical, I keep telling myself I have to learn how to make the damn cakes without the box mixes, but I never do it. I feel like such a shame sometimes. Person B. I am a culinary student and a mighty fine baker. My baking instructor taught us that many bakers / bakeries / catering companies / restaurants use cake mix. And why use cake mix? It's quite simple, it's what we expect. If you make a cake from scratch, it has a totally different flavor, different textures and other little things. As Americans, we expect cakes to taste like boxed cake mix. If we went to Europe, you would be shunned. Don't feel bad, if you can ice a cake, you have my respect.
Number 3.
Okay, so this is a secret I've kept for nearly 20 years. During the summers when I was growing up, my parents would often leave my brother and I, a male, with our aunt and uncle who lived out in the country. It was great as they had 4 sons of ages close to ours, so we had a lot of fun doing kids stuff. One summer when I was 8, the oldest cousin was maybe 16. We somehow got talking and he asked me if I wanted to sleep in his room that night. He has the nicest room and bed, so I was all for it. Got into bed, and he asked if he could touch my penis. I was 8 and just thought it was okay, so I let him. He rubs it for a bit and then asks me to do the same to him. So I do. This progresses and eventually I'm sucking his cock. I think I knew this was wrong, so I said I didn't want to carry on. We stop and I go to sleep quite confused. I wake up and he hands me some money and tells me never to tell anyone about what happened. Next night he tries to do the same thing. But now all I care about is the money. So I do it. This carried on for 2 summers. Eventually I got old enough to realize it was quite wrong regardless of the money and stopped. I've not told anyone this. He's now married with 2 kids. I'm also married and we see them sometimes at family events. I don't have the balls to even try and talk to him about it. Hell, I'm not even sure what I'd say. I'm sure this will get buried, but just getting it off my chest makes me feel better. TLDR, I was a gay child hooker.
Number 4.
I faked the last 2 years of college education. My parents put so much pressure on me I couldn't handle it. I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety, so I faked it all. Lied to everyone. Made up fake transcripts. I just got my foot in the door in my desired field thanks to a friend as they hired me as a subordinate. This place only hires college grads, but no one double-checked my credentials since I was recommended. My hope is that if I need to find another job, I'll have been at this place long enough to get it by experience alone. I'll work for a very prestigious company. I'm not bad at my job. I'm actually quite good. But my fear is eventually I'll hit a wall and the lie will come to light. No one has known this for the better part of a decade. It's a relief to finally say it out loud. I can't even tell those I love. My silence is my prison.
Number 5.
When I was 17, I had an argument with my father and told him to F off. Later that evening he hung himself. Our argument was the last time he spoke to anyone in our family, and for that I feel a terrible amount of guilt for. Instead of him saying goodbye and I love you to my mom and brothers, he got told to F off before he went and killed himself. My punishment is to live the rest of my days in shame and guilt. He never left a note either.
Number 6.
IT guy here. It's amazing what people will do on their computers and say in their emails despite having to sign a waiver that all computer activity at work is monitored and recorded. I have half the company's banking, social media and personal email account info and passwords. I know who is secretly banging who at the office behind their spouses' backs. I know who is cybering at work and jerking it in the bathroom almost daily. At least they tell their sex chat partner they're running off to the bathroom to jerk it. Haven't felt the need to check the validity of that one. I know when people are having marital problems, financial problems. I even know one person here had their children taken away because a social worker found cocaine in their house. I know who is embezzling money, I know when people get fired for completely bullshit reasons, like they just want to replace them with someone younger and nicer on the eyes, and I know who my boss is buying Xanax and Vicodins from. Basically, I have a treasure trove of my coworkers' secrets. I won't actively do anything with this info, but it's nice knowing I have the ammunition there if something were to ever happen.
Number 7.
There was a girl who I had a crush on the moment I saw her on my college campus. She ended up dating a douchebag dude a few weeks later. I happened to end up sitting in a study room with him and a few mutual friends. He talked about how he didn't think she was that attractive and how he liked other girls. I wrote the girl an anonymous email using one of those websites telling her about the things I heard and how the guy was a dick. She ended up breaking up with him after she found out he was cheating. The girl is now my girlfriend of 6 months. She has no idea, and is sitting across from me in the library. I've never told anyone this before. Edit, we've now been together 9 months and are going strong. Smile. Edit number 2, it's our 1-year anniversary tomorrow. Edit number 3, I've gotten a number of requests for updates over the past few years. We're still together, going 3+ years strong, and she's finally moved in with me. Life is great. Edit number 4, still going strong after 5 years. We've been living together in a big city and life is great. We found things we're both really passionate about and can finish each other's sentences. I've always been a big believer of the just do it mindset, and this whole story is proof of it.
Number 8.
When I was 15, my parents were going through a divorce. My mom worked night shifts and my dad was living with a friend of his. One night my sister, who was 19 at the time, came home pretty drunk from a party. She was acting goofy and fell on the couch next to me. She started grabbing my leg and laughing, and we started fondling. We ended up having sex right there. When we woke up the next day, she had no recollection of the night before, so I just kept my mouth shut. Fast forward to when I'm 18. Sister is home from college, is over for a visit. They get into an argument, and in a fit of rage my dad announces how he has never forgiven her for the abortion she got when she was 19 and subsequently killing his grandchild. He's very religious. I then realized the baby she aborted was in fact mine, and as far as I know, I am the only one who knows, since she has never mentioned that night. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.